Today, we're going to break down the 5 simple commands that basically run the entire internet. Seriously. And by the end of this, you are going to have a mental model that will completely change how you see, build, and work with web applications. So, does this feel familiar? You're staring at an API, maybe you've got Postman open, and it just feels like you're throwing darts in the dark, Just hoping something sticks. I remember this feeling so clearly. I was completely stuck. I'd get these weird, cryptic error messages, all my requests would fail, and honestly, if you'd asked me the difference between a post and a put request, I would have just stared at you blankly. It seriously felt like everybody else was in on a secret that I just didn't get. And let's be real for a second. In the job market we're all looking at, with AI changing everything and competition getting tougher, you just can't afford to have gaps in these core skills. Not really getting APIs, well, it can feel like you're falling behind while everyone else is speeding ahead. But then, I stumbled onto this incredibly simple mental model. A secret, really, that just made it all click into place. And I promise you, it is so much simpler than you think. And this is it. This is the secret. It's all just CRUD. Create, read, update, and delete. I know, it sounds almost too simple, right? But literally everything you do online, posting a photo, logging into an account, anything, it all maps back to one of these 4 basic actions. And once you see this pattern, those 5 API commands finally make perfect sense. Okay, so let's build this system out together, starting with the 2 things we do most often, reading and creating data. First up is get. This one is the R in CRUD for read. It's honestly the simplest and safest command of them all. All it does is ask the server, hey, can I please have this piece of information? It never, ever changes anything on the server. It just looks. And look how easy this is to do in a tool like Postman. You just select get, you plug in the URL for what you want, and here's a pro tip that's going to save you a ton of headaches. Instead of trying to manually type out filters in the long URL string, just use the params tab. You just enter your key, like user ID, and the value, like 1, and Postman builds that perfect URL for you. Hit send, boom, there's your data. It's just that clean. Okay, now let's move to the C in CRUD. Post, which is for create. This is how you add brand new information to a system. So think about signing up for a new account or publishing a new blog post. You're basically sending a package of new data to the server, and you send that package inside what's called the request body. And the process in Postman is just as straightforward. You just switch the method over to post, you hop over to the body tab, select raw, and then pick JSON from that little drop-down menu. This is your canvas. It's where you write out the data for your new thing. Once you hit send, you've officially created something new on the web. Pretty cool, right? Now, here's a really crucial piece of insider info. You can't just send data. You have to tell the server what kind of data you're sending. You do this with something called a content type header. Now, the good news is Postman is smart. It does this for you automatically when you select JSON. But knowing why it's there, well, that's what separates the pros from the beginners. Okay, awesome. You now know how to read and create data. So let's complete the system by learning how to change it and, of course, how to remove it. This is where the U and the D of CRUD finally come into play. So for update, this is probably the most important distinction you need to learn, the difference between put and patch. Think of put as a total replacement. You send a complete new version of the object, and whatever was there before gets completely wiped out and replaced. If you forget to include a field in your put request, guess what? That field gets deleted. Patch, on the other hand, is like surgical editing. You only send the specific bits you want to change, and everything else on the server stays exactly as it was. And finally, we have the D in CRUD, delete. This one is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the command you use to permanently, and I mean permanently, remove something from the server. It's powerful, and it's very straightforward. So, let's put this all together. You've just learned the entire system. And I want you to think of this next part as your own personal cheat sheet, your new API superpower. This table right here is your golden ticket, and the 2 most important columns to understand are safe and idempotent. Safe is easy. It just means the request can't change any data, so only get is truly safe. Now, idempotent, it's a fancy word for a really simple idea. Doing something once has the exact same effect as doing it 10 times. The best analogy is a light switch. Pressing on once is the same as pressing on 10 times in a row. The light is just on. That's idempotent. Deleting a post is too. But creating a new post? That's not. Doing it 10 times gives you 10 new posts. This little table is your key to predicting exactly how any API is going to behave. And just like that, you're not guessing anymore. Remember that feeling of being stuck, of throwing darts in the dark? It's gone, because you now have a complete, reliable system, this CRUD model, for understanding and interacting with pretty much any API on the web. Look, the absolute best way to make this stick is to actually do it. So open up Postman, find a practice API, and run through this exact workflow. Create something with post, read it back with get, update the whole thing with put, then just change one little piece with patch, and finally, delete it. Go through that full CRUD cycle yourself, and I guarantee you, you will own this knowledge forever. So I'm going to leave you with this question. You now understand the fundamental language of the web. You have the keys to create, read, update, and delete information basically anywhere. The only question left is, what are you going to build?